feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. It is Friday, March 11th. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and we got some stuff that it's going to be an interesting night because we had a new name change on SmackDown, which is going to be a little fun to talk about, at least. And then we got a very unfortunate injury, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So we do got a couple of interesting things to talk about today in regards to SmackDown, and we got a pretty simple, decent episode of Rampage. I wouldn't say anything like super newsworthy off of that show, but it was still a pretty decent show. Some additional matches added for next week's Dynamite that were announced tonight. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that. I'm actually going to kick things off today with SmackDown. There isn't that much to talk about, so we're probably going to get through it pretty fast, but we need to talk about the major things that occurred here today, that being the name change and the unfortunate injury that occurred as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it, everybody. Let's kick things off with SmackDown, man. Really quickly, we're still continuing the actions with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Tonight, Roman Reigns was not at SmackDown, at least did not appear on TV. Brock Lesnar came out. He's super upset about the events that occurred at Madison Square Garden, calls out Roman Reigns. Instead, he gets Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman tells him he's not there. Brock Lesnar gets super pissed off with Paul Heyman, chases him out of the venue. That was actually pretty fun because Brock Lesnar was like tossing bodies, throwing security guards, etc. And Paul Heyman ends up getting into a getaway car and jam. So that was probably one of the, I guess you can say, highlights of SmackDown for tonight. There really weren't very many highlights. But anyways, that was kind of fun to see Paul Heyman run the hell out of the building. They did announce that next week we are going to be seeing both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar collide. And by collide, they're not necessarily having a match. It's just they're both going to be in the venue at the show. So that's something to look forward to. But let's go ahead and get into, let's talk about one of the unfortunate things that occurred on today's show, guys, that is unfortunately going to have, some repercussions. And I'm going to start off with the serious issue during this. And the serious issue that I'm going to talk about is the injury of Big E. So unfortunately, Big E was stretchered out of today's show after taking a belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland, in which he landed on his neck. And if I don't know, either A, you guys watched it on SmackDown, you guys watched it occur, or if not, there are videos on social media. I kind of went and, saw some of them just to kind of get like a better look at what happened. And I will tell you that I don't recommend it because it is a very brutal spot to see happen. So this is something we need to talk about because not only was Big E stretchered out, but he did post a video on social media. He let people know that he's able to move his fingers and all of that. He was in the neck brace, but he basically said that he is, the doctors are telling him that his neck is broken. And as you all know, a broken neck is nothing to, be over the moon about at all, because we all know that that's something very serious. And for a lot of people, this could be like career ending. We've seen a lot of people's careers come to an end due to, neck, stuff happening to your neck, obviously. So this was something very, very unfortunate that occurred. It's crazy because at Elimination Chamber, we had Madcap Moss when he landed on his neck. And I just when I saw, that was horrible to see. What happened to Madcap Moss was absolutely horrible to see. And thankfully, he was able to come back afterwards and, everything was all right. But when you see the Big E spot, and when you see the way that he landed, and this was on the outside of the ring, so it wasn't even in the ring, this was on the outside of the ring, and you see the way that he landed, his landing looked much worse than the Madcap Moss landing, and that looked bad, and this one to me looked a lot worse. So I'm really just I think all we can do is just send well wishes to Big E and hope that, this is a speedy speedy recovery, or at least that, everything turns out all right for him. And the other thing that we have to talk about too is that this is going to be kind of like, I also feel bad for Ridge Holland because first of all, I do think that he should no longer be doing that move with the way that it was executed. I just don't think that it was the right. I just don't think he probably should be doing it anymore. But regardless, I still feel bad for Ridge Holland because it's not like he went out there and said, hey, I want to injure Big E. Like, hell no, that's not even the case. And I know there's going to be fans out there that are going to come after Ridge Holland. And I hope people don't do that because at the end of the day, like, it's wrestling and people are going to get hurt and we know this. And so I do feel bad for Ridge Holland because I know, he must be feeling like crap knowing that this happened to Big E, obviously not wanting to do that. And on top of that, man, I just feel bad for Big E because it's like, shit, so much has happened with him, like, on WWE, like in recent months, like, he wins the title, he's at the mountaintop, loses the title, then from there he just gets kind of treated like a jobber, doesn't even get treated like a real champion or like a former champion, right? And then from there he just like magically gets moved on over from Raw to SmackDown with like no explanation whatsoever. And then from there was kind of thrown into like just this random ass, story. Like the SmackDown roster is very slim. So it's like, I feel bad for Big E because he kind of went from like here with being champion and now, being reduced and then unfortunately suffering an injury. But if you watch that video, he was incredibly positive. He was like, I'm going to be all right. Go to sleep, everybody. Don't worry. So it was at least good that, he was, moving the hands and all of that and, being able to talk to everybody and all of that good stuff. So, but anyways, that is something that occurred on today's show. So that's obviously going to be a loss for the SmackDown roster as well, given the fact that you're not going to be having Big E there. Huge loss for the roster. But so we'll see. We'll obviously find out more information as, days go by. We got a super chat from Darth Stevens 777 who says, prayer to Big E, and what's your WWE name, Denise? Oh, we're going to get right into that in just a hot second. We'll get right into that. Thank you so much to Joe Bab64 for sending in a super chat. Didn't write a comment, but I still appreciate the support. I really thank you for that. We actually have another super chat. This one is from Maj Motar, who says, I thought I was having a bad day, and then I see Big E with a broken neck and making sure the people are fine and smiling. Best man. Sending Big E some good positive vibes. I agree, guys. Like he could have I'm glad that like he did a video. I think that like just like that quick 30-second video was just so reassuring. And at the end of the day, like he still has a broken neck, but I think just him going out there and saying like, get some sleep, everybody, like it's gonna be okay. It was nice to have I don't know how else to say it. It was like a classy act, even though he's hurt and he doesn't need to be classy. I don't know how else to explain that. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson who says, it's amazing how Big E was in good spirits in the video he posted. I hope he recovers from this. He's universally loved by everyone. Yep, completely agreed. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in the super chat as well. This is a comment from Definitely Maybe X who says, absolutely the worst time for people to blame Ridge. Drew almost injured Madcap. Kingston dropped Jericho on his head. It can happen with seasoned vets of the industry too. Yeah, so I really hope that nobody, and there's going to be those people, guys, there's going to be people that are going to be like, what the hell, man? You guys know how the internet is and how people are, but I really hope that people realize that, things happen. So I hope that no one sends Ridge Holland like any negativity because I'm sure he's already feeling down enough. Like I wouldn't want to be in Ridge Holland's shoes right now because you would just like feel like shit, completely feel like shit. Ed Pump says he went from the best year of his career to the absolute worst. Sucks. Biggie is great. We got another super chat. This one is from Darth Steven who says, and just a thank you for everything, Denise. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So now let's go ahead and and this all happened like pretty much in the exact same segment. So I don't know how else to transition from this, horrible injury to, okay, now we got to talk about this name change, which is what it was unexpected. So for those of you who are wondering, Denise, what the hell are you talking about? In case you haven't been on Twitter and you haven't been seeing everybody in the IWC talk about Butch Today we got the birth of Butch. I feel dumb saying it. All right, anyways. So we got Pete Dunne now on the main roster. Kudos, clap for that. There's the bright side. There's always a bright side. On the not so bright side, he has been renamed. Pete Dunne has been renamed to Butch. Just Butch. No last name, no nothing, just Butch. I had a lot of people that were tweeting me saying, Denise, are you kidding us? Are you joking? Is this for real? Yeah, it's for real. Pete Dunne's new name is now Butch. Now, here's why I personally don't care for it. And the reasons for that is, first of all, Butch is a very, very outdated name. A very outdated name, okay? It's just not a name that people use anymore right now, okay? But secondly, here's the thing with the name changes. Why do you have to do them? Why? WHY. And this is the thing. All right, I know that, okay, so I know that there's sometimes, people that become stars in other companies or independent wrestling, or in the independent wrestling scene, they become stars, right? And then they go to WWE and they get their name changed. And even then, I don't like that, because I'm like, shit, like, don't you want to promote that person when they already became a star? Don't you want to get some of those fans to go in and watch them? Right, that's one whole argument. But this is different. Like, Pete Dunne made his name in NXT, which is in WWE. So, like, I get it. Like, I get it when WWE changes names from, like, people that were out, like, coming into WWE, like, they changed their names. I get it. But changing their names from NXT to the main roster, to me, doesn't make sense, because it is the same company. It's the same company. So I don't understand why you got to change the names if it's not, I mean, if it was going to be an improvement, then sure, by all means, go for it. Knock yourselves out. But when somebody gets over on one of your brands and then you change the name, it just, for me, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. And so this kind of, I wasn't planning on being here talking about, this name change, because just a couple of weeks ago, or months at this point, I don't even know anymore, we were here talking about the terrible name change from Walter to Gunther. And that one was I think that one was worse because of the whole Nazi situation and all of that. That one had like layers to it. Like, it was worse in a different way, right? Still terrible name, but regardless, it was worse because of the whole Nazi tie-in and all of that Gunther Stark stuff. All right, great. But now it's like the whole thing with Pete Dunne, on top of it being an outdated name, them and not making sense for them to change his name. On top of that, to me, it feels very like goofy. It's like a goofy name. It's for Pete Dunne. He could have just been Pete Dunne. I don't get it. Am I being too harsh on the name? Am I not being harsh enough? Let me know. Let's see what the people here are saying. We got a super chat from Joe Babs64, who says they should have changed his name to Walter. Jesus, can you imagine that? Like, hey, this is Walter. Actually, that would have been hilarious. I like your style, Joe Bab. I like your style, man. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson, who says, if I'm dragging off, I'm staying in NXT UK. I don't know what they would change his name to, guys. I just don't know. But we got people reacting to... we got people reacting to the Butch name, to the Pete Dunne name change to Butch. And this is from Devin. This is something we need to point out, because a lot of people were also bringing this up on social media, is that he was literally Pete Dunne on TV 2 weeks ago. Yeah, like, this is not, it's not like we haven't seen Pete Dunne be Pete Dunne, So it's just, I don't know. Definitely maybe excess. Pete Dunne clearly doesn't sound British enough to Vince, it seems. Is Butch more? Thank you, some guy. I literally said this. Butch is the freaking dog's name. I literally thought about that. I'm pretty sure I know dogs or people that have named their dogs Butch. It's just an outdated name. It's an outdated name. Anyways, let's see what else we got here. Let's get some more comments here. This one's from Mako Maniac, who says, what's worse, Butch or Dewdrop? I would definitely say that Dewdrop is worse. I just think it's like Butch, I could at least get why they would give him that name, right? I could see it. With Dewdrop, it's just kind of messed up to call her Dewdrop. So for me, I think that Dewdrop is worse. But the Gunther Starks was worse. Gunther Starks together was worse because of the Nazi tie-in. So I would rank Gunther Starks at the top, then Dewdrop, and then Butch. So it's not the very worst, but it's definitely up there in recent name changes, that's for sure. Zeno Hour says Gunther is no longer the worst name. Sometimes I wonder if they just did it because they want us to not be talking about Gunther anymore. And let's go ahead and get some more thoughts in here. We got a super chat from Lake who says, Butch, seriously, you named the Bruiserweight after a bushwhacker? Well, I love the Bushwhackers, first of all. They're freaking awesome. Love them. But yeah, it's just like I said, an outdated name makes him feel very cartoonish. I don't need the Viking Raider situation vibe going on with Pete Dunne. You don't need it. Don't need it. We got a super chat from David Kaplan who says the SmackDown show was weak and lame. Also, Speak Now is my favorite Taylor Swift album. Thank you so much to David for pointing this out. For those of you guys who do not know, this podcast, which is called Speak Now Pro Wrestling, is named after my favorite Taylor Swift album. Yes, I grew up to host a wrestling podcast named after my favorite singers, one of my favorite albums. Hey guys, life is funny that way. All right, let's go ahead and get some comments here. This one's from Mako who says, the butcher weight kind of rolls off the tongue. Let's see what we got here. This one is from M. James Irwin who says, imagine putting in all the work and making a name for yourself only to stand idly by with your new shit name and watching the green ass. Oh God. I won't even continue on. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to pick out a couple of comments here. And, here we go. This is another super chat from Sheldon Jackson who says, if you start on NXT UK, expect a name change. That sucks. And it's not even like, okay, like, yeah, was on NXT UK, but he was on NXT, your regular NXT, for like the longest time too. Why? Just a couple months ago, I was sitting here thinking like, I feel so stupid, and this is why I feel stupid. I'm gonna open up here to the people. I feel stupid because a couple of months ago, prior to the whole NXT 2.0 change and prior to all of that, right? I was sitting here saying like, yeah, I think it's finally gonna happen. I think it's finally gonna be Pete Dunne's turn to be NXT champion. Yeah, this is totally gonna happen. I don't see how they don't do it. I feel so dumb that for a good period of time, I thought we were really going to see Pete Dunne as NXT champion in the black and gold era of NXT. And now things have changed. Now Pete Dunne is Butch. Now Walter is Gunther. I'm stressed out. Thank you so much to Shelton Jackson for sending in that super chat. Let's go ahead and see what else we got here. This one's from Dylan Williams says, even if they just shortened it to Dunne, I feel like it would be better, or at least better than Butch. I agree with you. I agree. I was thinking the same thing because I was trying to think like, okay, what would be better? Like if you're gonna have to do a name change, what could be better? I mean, like, I'm too lazy to put out a thesaurus right now. Type in tough and see what other words come up and use that. But like Dunne wouldn't have been so bad. I would have preferred Dunne over Butch because at least it's spelled pretty interestingly. I don't know. Dylan, I feel you though. I feel you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on here. We got a super chat from Matt Carney who says WWE wants full and complete ownership of their wrestlers. Forced re-identification is an act of ownership. I name you, I own you, like a damn dog. Yeah, like a damn dog. Butch the dog. Matt, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on from here. So we already talked about Big E. We already talked about the name changed here on SmackDown. Those are really the two big things to talk about, guys. Other things that happened was essentially Johnny Knoxville putting out Sami Zayn's phone number across the sky in Los Angeles. That's interesting marketing. I don't know if anybody here on the stream called or texted that number. I'm curious to see what you guys got on the other line. Don't know. I didn't write the phone number down, so I missed out. And then let me go ahead and see. We got Drew. We were supposed to get Drew, the Viking Raiders, and Madcap Moss. We were supposed to get a six-way with all of that, with Corbin and Jinder Mahal and all of that. But we ended up seeing all of those guys we ended up seeing Shanky, Corbin, Mahal essentially beat up the Viking Raiders, who were supposed to be teaming up with Drew McIntyre, beat them up. So Drew McIntyre didn't have anybody to, team up with. So this match did not end up happening. And it ended up with Drew, with all the guys coming out. Drew took a couple of them out, but then was distracted by Baron Corbin. And so then all of the other guys jumped on Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre is just stuck in the storyline with the nobody cares. Yeah, that's it. We got a message from Ronda Rousey to Charlotte Flair. Nice little interaction between both of them here. The whole thing here was Ronda Rousey basically telling Charlotte Flair that she's not a one-trick pony. And even if she was, that it's not necessarily like an issue because, she basically uses, oof, I'm blanking right now, guys. Anyways, but she puts that over. We see Charlotte Flair coming out. Charlotte Flair tells her that she's not going to be able to make Charlotte Flair tap out at WrestleMania. Ronda talks about the ankle slam and her mentor and Kurt Angle. Charlotte Flair tells her she doesn't care. And at this point, I'm thinking like, okay, there's no real like heat right now that I'm really feeling from Charlotte and Ronda. Like this was a very, very bland face off between both of these women. So I was very glad that at the end of the show, they essentially had them go at it in the backstage area. So that was pretty cool. I like that they did that because we ended up seeing Charlotte put back body slam Ronda Rousey onto the hood of a car. That was cool. So I'm glad that they did that backstage brawl because I think it added so much more than all the talking that they did earlier on the show. I thought that felt very dry. They needed more. They needed more sizzle in the story. So they finally added that with the backstage brawl. I liked that. We got a quick match between Sasha and Naomi versus Shayna and Natty. We had Zelina and Carmella on ringside. Nice crossbody from Naomi. Sasha hits the double knees on Natty, gets the win. We also got a match between the Usos and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura get the win. They're going to WrestleMania. They're getting a title shot. So that's an update there. We also got a rematch between Ricochet and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship, a rematch from last week in which Ricochet won. This match wasn't as good as the last one that they had. It was all right. Theory came out. He went at it with Pat McAfee, and we end up seeing Sami Zayn retain the title after hitting a 630. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was SmackDown. How much did I do? Oh, yeah. I was able to talk about SmackDown 23 minutes. I was worried. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have 10 minutes of stuff to talk about for SmackDown. So there we go. We got a good amount of time there. All right, let's go ahead and continue on, guys. Let's transfer on over to AEW Rampage. And all right, we got some pretty interesting stuff to talk about here too. Nothing as newsworthy in terms of like the two things that we just talked about with Big E and Butch. But we do got some interesting stuff to talk about here. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So first of all, we kicked off the night with Darby Allin versus Marq Quen. I thought this was a decent opening match. I didn't like totally love it. I thought it was just like so-so. I don't think that there wasn't any matches today that necessarily blew me away. I thought it was just like a bunch of like decent matches, but nothing that was so like explosive that I was like, oh my God. No, but we did have some good spots during this match, which I enjoyed. And I like that we saw I like that we saw Marq essentially try to like stretch out Darby Allin with the abdominal stretch. I liked all of that. I love the superplex from Darby off the top rope. We saw Quen do a 450 on the outside. We see then Quen try to go for the shooting star press, but Darby Allin's moves and he ends up getting Quen in the Fujiwara armbar. Jesus, I can't talk. And then Quen ended up tapping out there. Darby gets the win here. And then right after this, we see the AHFO. I'm so glad I finally learned how to say that. The AHFO, they come out and they're about to like go in and get the attack like on Darby and all of that. But the Hardy Boys come out to essentially break that up, run an interference during that. So we get Matt and Jeff. They're in their like old like 2000s gear. Somebody tweeted me that they thought Matt Hardy looked a lot younger with the gear, and I have to agree because he did look like a lot younger. I don't know, man. It was the clothes, the gear, like instantly looked like 20 years younger. It was crazy. But anyway, so we got that little interaction. Obviously, they've been teasing, a lot of, with Darby Allin. So I'm very excited to see where we go from here. This is fun, guys. I feel like everybody's been like in a pretty good mood ever since Jeff Hardy made his debut on Wednesday on Dynamite. That was a lot of fun. And Matt did reveal that he did re-sign with AEW and that his contract is the same length, or rather ending at the same period as Jeff Hardy. So we're good on that end. But let's go ahead and see what we got here, what people are saying here. Let's see. I'm trying to get through some comments here. This one's from Sean Williams, who says Private Party should be getting some tag wins from now on to get them prepared for the Hardy Boys match. Yep, that would be good. I agree with that as well. And the Broken Tables podcast says, I tuned in for 5 minutes and heard Michael Cole say Ricochet got his moves from Johnny Knoxville. I almost televised something his TV. I appreciate you. We got a super chat from David Caplan who says, you think the Hardys will have a ladder match with Darby and Sting? I feel like that would be a dream match for people in terms of like really hyping them up. I feel like if they have the opportunity to do that, they should do it. And I think we're getting there. I feel it. I feel like we've had too much of this like tension between Darby and Jeff. And we had the whole like the Hardy Boys basically in the same ring with Sting and Darby, and having them on Wednesday's Dynamite, having that little like moment between both teams. So I feel like we're heading somewhere near that direction. I hope we do, because I think I think they've already teased it. We didn't even need that big of a tease, but we got enough of a tease where like we need it now. But let's see what we got here, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna go through a couple more comments here. Palmy Wrestling says, great, you finally learned how to say AHFO. Too bad the Hardy is out. It'll probably be called AFO. Did they call it AFO today? I think they still called it the AHFO. It should be the AFO, but I think they still called it the AHFO. Jesus. Can't speak today, guys. It's Friday. Fridays is the day where I'm like done. All right, let's go ahead and get some more comments here. Let's see. After this, we got Mercedes Martinez versus Jame Hayter. So this was a nice, solid little match between both of these girls. I think that they have a lot of similarities in terms of like when they're both in the ring together, they're both hard hitting. I really like that. They both have this like tough demeanor, and they're both around like the same size. So I really like seeing both of them go at it here. I really liked the German suplex that we saw Mercedes Martinez do from the top rope to Jame Hayter. I thought that was really good. Britt Baker essentially ended up costing Mercedes Martinez this match, because when the referee was distracted and not looking, Britt Baker essentially got involved. She punched Mercedes Martinez in the face, and then afterwards, Jame was able to hit a lariat and get the win here. So I'm glad they gave Jame Hayter the win. I think she was the person that needed this, especially if we're bound to. I'm pretty sure that after Britt Baker is done doing the story with Thunder Rosa, I'm pretty sure we're going to end up seeing Britt Baker and Jame Hayter go at it, because they've been teasing that for a little while now. So I'm glad that they're starting to give Jame Hayter some wins on like Rampage. That's a good place to obviously get her some wins. So this was good. Furthers that story. We ended up seeing Britt, Jame, and Rebel try to get at Mercedes Martinez. So they were going to try to do like a 3-on-1 type of deal. But Thunder Rosa came out to help out Mercedes Martinez. She came out with a chair, ran them off, and I cannot wait for St. Patrick's Day Slam on Wednesday. That's going to be a good time here. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying here. I know that the chat here really loves Jamie Hayter, so I'm curious to see what you guys thought about this match, because I feel like from the beginning that she came into AEW, people have been like really big on Jamie Hayter, which was interesting to me because I feel like they haven't really used her that much, where like we've been consistently seeing her wrestle or anything like that. But regardless, she has still been getting over with the fans, guys. And let's go ahead and see what we got here. And thank you. Devin says that, yeah, today they did call it the AFO. Damn. I thought they said the AHFO. Screw it. I'm done today, guys. I'm done. All right, let's see what we got here, everybody. And see, I told you guys, everybody is a big fan of Jamie Hayter. I knew it. And let's go through a couple more. This one is from Devin, who says, Jamie Hayter is awesome. I want to see her be a champion sooner rather than later. And Leonard Aarons III says, the bout was so new, Britt didn't even hit her with it. I chuckled at that. I'm anxious to see Jamie get a run on her own. See, we got more people putting over Jamie Hayter. I told you, she is loved by the people. Twitch Face 4 says, not many people hate her. I can't. I think this was officially comment of the night. This was comment of the night. Congratulations, Twitch Face 4, for sending in comment of the night. And let's go ahead and get some more comments here. We got a super chat, actually. This one is from Matt Carney, who says, what's the most wild thing you could imagine AEW doing? Where's the boundary? Could Sting violently turn on Darby? Could Punk tag with MJF? So I'm not sure where you were going at with this question, because when you said what's the most wild thing you can imagine AEW doing, immediately my brain was like, Triple H showing up on AEW. That would be freaking wild. But then you went in a different, I think I went too wild with these, with my thoughts. But where's the boundary? I don't think there's any boundaries, especially we've been seeing a lot happen, like, in wrestling, that you're like, shit, I didn't realize that was going to happen. So, yeah, I don't think I could even give you a boundary by any means. Could Sting violently turn on Darby? I don't want to see it happen yet, guys. I don't want to see it happen. I think there's still so much more there with Sting and Darby. I don't want to see like a breakup or anything like that. I think there's still so much more to be done there. Could CM Punk tag with MJF? Maybe like in a couple of years, I don't know, but definitely not right now. But in terms of like crazy things happening, who the hell knows? I mean, who the hell expected William Regal in AEW managing Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson? Like, who saw that coming? Really? Who saw that coming? Who saw CM Punk returning? Who saw Bryan Danielson coming in to AEW? And I get it, like in hindsight, you're like, yeah, I saw it coming. Not really. Thank you so much to Matt Carney for sending in that super chat here. And this chat stands Hayter. Dude, we need to let her know her biggest fans here are all here over on this YouTube show. But we got a super chat here. This one is from Cadillac Carson, who says, I feel like Shida threatening to decapitate Deeb is newsworthy. Great to see Swerve in AEW, otherwise a mild episode of Rampage. That is one of the things that we saw on today's show. Might as well mention it now. Shida did a promo where she basically said that this entire time that we weren't seeing her, she was essentially thinking of revenge and wanting to do worse to Deeb. She wants to do worse to Deeb. She says it is not enough. She went to town on that girl with those kendo sticks, and she still feels like she did not do enough to Deeb. So Hikaru Shida, she is definitely channeling her dark side. She really is. We got a super chat from Jimmy Belinko. Thank you so much to Jimmy for this very kind super chat, who says, another taped Rampage, another commercial break in the middle of the match on Fight TV where there's not supposed to be commercials. Any chance you can ask Tony Khan about it the next time you are at a scrum? See, here's the thing. Like, I forget. I think I don't know if it was you, Jimmy, but somebody did ask me about this in the past before, because I do recall getting this. But so you got the commercial break in the middle of the match on Fight TV. That's interesting. I don't ever watch Dynamite on Fight TV, so I don't even know what to tell you there. But next scrum, send it in, and maybe if I have to look more into this, though. I have to look more into this because I don't know what the whole situation is with Fight TV and what they do there. I don't know. Have a little bit of beef right now with Fight TV. They took down my video on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, on Twitter. I'm still salty about that. That was a couple days ago, but I'm still salty about it. They took down the video that I shot and recorded. But they didn't take down other people's videos that they were taken from the broadcast. But they took down my little rink-a-dink freaking cell phone video. I'm still mad about that. Yeah, Fight TV. I'll fight you in a death match, Fight TV. Thank you so much, though, to Jimmy Belinko for sending in this super chat here. And let's go ahead and get some more comments here. This one is from Reggie Simmons, good friend here of the show, says just donating to the Jamie Hayter Appreciation Fund. Damn, in that case, keep sending. Jamie Hayter's going to be like, what now? There's an appreciation fund and I'm not getting any cut of it. What's going on? Thank you so much to Reggie Simmons, though, who's always here on the show here, sending in some good love here. Zeno Hour, chat poll. You can only choose one. Jamie Hayter and Nikita Lyons. Nikita Lyons is very popular on this show, too. Yes, very popular. She's popular on Tuesdays. Jamie Hayter is popular on Wednesdays and Fridays here. We got another super chat. This one is from David Caplan, who says, the women's division as a whole is the weakest part of AEW. Your thoughts? I don't think that's the proper way to... I would say no. I think they could do a lot more with the women's division, but I wouldn't say it was the weakest part, because I feel like saying that it's the weakest part is saying that the women aren't good enough, right? I feel that's... If you phrase it that way, I feel like that's what you're trying, I feel like it would come off the wrong way. So I will say no, and I do think that AEW has done a lot of improvements in their women's division. A lot. We have more storylines now for the women, which is good. Before, we didn't really get that. I mean, we had 3 women's matches at AEW Revolution, which was nice. That was good. We've seen, the growth of so many people like Ty Conti. She's obviously a major one. They still do need to do a whole lot more with their women's division, so don't get me wrong here. It ain't perfect. They still need to do a whole lot more. And I do think that, I think they need to do a whole lot more with their women's division, but at least they're making changes. Or not changes, but rather improvements. Thank you so much to David Caplan for sending in that super chat as well. And we got another one from Jerry Ramey, who says, Sting can't turn on Darby's, and Sting only had one successful heel turn. 3,000 man event Mafia. Oh, there you go. Main event Mafia in 2008. Thank you so much to Jerry Ramey for also sending in this super chat. I appreciate you. And let me go ahead and see some more comments here. Doppelganger, Denise's pipe bomb on Fight TV. Don't get me started. All right, and this is from Rocky AWOL, who says long-term storytelling between Deeb and Thunder Rosa would be legendary and bigger than Britt and Rosa. I don't know if it would be bigger than Britt and Rosa, just because they just did something so tremendous for the AEW women's division, period, at a time when you really needed it. Their lights out match is definitely going to go down, or has already gone down in AEW history as a very important match. So I just feel like the bar is so high. I think in terms of a really great, phenomenal story of matches between Deeb and Thunder Rosa, the quality will definitely be there. But in terms of story and just, star power and what Britt brought to the feud and what Rosa brought to the feud, I don't feel like that. It depends on who. I don't know if Deeb and Thunder Rosa would beat that, but you just never know. But thank you so much for sending that in too. We got a super chat from Matt Carney, who says, we've had Kane and Brock and other such male monsters. Will we ever have a truly dominant monster at female monster at some point. For the women, I'm thinking right now, I'm trying to think of names as of this moment. I feel like they could have done that with Shayna Baszler over on WWE. I think they could have made her into a monster, but not like not in like the Kane way, more in like the Brock way. I think that she would have been the perfect person for that. Thank you so much to Matt for sending that one in as well. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's see. We already talked about the Sheeta promo. After this, we got Keith Lee versus QT Marshall. This was literally just Keith Lee beating the hell out of QT Marshall, which is what we want to see. Let's be real. My favorite part of this was literally as the match started, Keith Lee just like headbutting the hell out of QT Marshall, like right there. Really liked that. Him lifting up QT with the left arm. That was really fun too. He literally just like smacked him on the chest with both hands. That was fun. Tossing QT. Really good stuff there. Keith Lee gets the win, and even afterwards, I like what we saw afterwards, because afterwards we saw Aaron Solo jump on the back of Keith Lee and like try to take him down, but Keith Lee was like this big giant wall, and he was not going to come down whatsoever, and Keith Lee just like literally throws him over the top rope. We just want to see Keith Lee throwing people's bodies. Then we had Nick Comoroto come in. He comes in and he tries to also, take down Keith Lee, but instead he's trying to punch him, but Keith Lee keeps blocking those punches. And then finally they do a little back and forth, some rights and lefts between both of them. And then finally Keith Lee hits him with the elbow. And then after that, after the elbow was when we got him for the power bomb. So now I've realized Nick Comoroto is the designated big guy to job to the other big guys, because he's now done that with Wardlow, and now they had him do this like interaction with Keith Lee. So I won't be surprised if we get Nick Comoroto and Keith Lee again. All right, let's see what we got here. So after this, we saw Powerhouse Hobbs. He comes out. Ricky Starks comes out. They leave from the commentary table back into the ring, and they go in and essentially try and attack Keith Lee. They're successful at it, and we end up seeing Hobbs hit a spine buster on Keith Lee, and that's kind of how this whole thing closes out. So I really like that we've been seeing this. I like that they let Hobbs kind of get one over on Keith Lee, because they made Keith Lee look so dominant by taking out all of those guys, but then Hobbs was the one that was able to take him down. So I really like that we've been seeing, like, even before the Face of the Revolution, they had like this backstage like stare off, both Keith Lee and Hobbs, and then everything that went down at the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and then even now that they're continuing that, I really enjoy that. So I want to see more with those two. We got another super chat. This one is from Jerry Ramey, who says, Rousey Flair desperately needed the bra. Remember 93, 95, where they were only bad manias. Drew versus Corbin, Knoxville versus Zayn. Classic mania. That was one of the things that I said earlier in the show when we were covering SmackDown, was I really do think that backstage brawl added so much to Ronda and Charlotte right now, because it just doesn't feel like a hot feud. Like, it doesn't feel like a hot feud, especially after that segment that they had on SmackDown. So the backstage brawl added to it, but they just need to keep it going. They need to keep making it feel like a bigger deal, because it just doesn't feel like too big of a deal. And let's see what else we got here. All right, cool. I'm all caught up there. Before I move on, everybody, we just got the main event to talk about, and then we also got some additional matches announced for AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam next week. I just want to remind you guys all that next week I will be here 3 times a week. I'm here on Tuesdays to talk about NXT 2.0. Wednesdays is my most popular show of the week, talking about AEW Dynamite. And considering that it's going to be St. Patrick's Day Slam, and we have a pretty loaded card, which I'll go over right now in just a bit, make sure that you guys come in here. Those are really fun shows. And then Fridays is the day where I'm like, I don't care. I'm done with the week. Let's get this podcast out of the way, and then I can go and enjoy myself. But not really, because I'm working this entire week, guys. F4W has me incredibly busy, so I'll be working this entire week, but it's all right. I would at least get a couple of hours to myself. But anyways, matches for St. Patrick's Day Slam. So we already knew Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Steel Cage, AEW Women's Championship. We already know that. It's got to be Thunder. We already knew Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. I'm definitely thinking that it's going to be Scorpio Sky. I think MJF is going to cost Wardlow the match. And then we're also getting a 6-man. Hangman is teaming up with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy to take on Adam Cole and Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. So that should be a really fun match. Looking forward to that. And then we got a tag team match between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson versus Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta. So that should be a good one too. So the card is looking pretty good, guys. I think it's going to be a fun show. And alrighty, for the main event, we had Swerve Strickland in his first ever AEW match against Tony Nese. God, this match drove me crazy for the dumbest reason. Every single time commentary said Nese instead of Tony Nese, and they would just say Nese, freaking drove me nuts because it rhymes with my name. So I kept feeling like they were saying my name, and I kept switching the gears in my brain. Oh, I hated it. Every Tony Nese match is going to be a struggle for me, literally because of that one dumb reason. But anyways, good for Swerve, who got his first win here on AEW. This was a nice, perfect match for him. I thought the main event, it was okay. Again, like I said, I didn't feel any match blew me away here tonight. But regardless, I thought that it was a nice, debut match for him on AEW. He showed his speed, really nice spots, including a very fun running dropkick that he did. There was a moment that Tony Nese tried to go for a clothesline, but he did like a cartwheel, then went in to do the clothesline, but Swerve moved out of the way. I liked this. I liked the whole cartwheel before the clothesline type of thing. That was fun, but he wasn't able to execute the clothesline on Swerve because Swerve moved out of the way. The other nitpick that I had about this match is that we saw a 450 splash from Tony Nese. And personally, I'm like, all right, we already saw one in the first match with Quen. We don't need to see another one on this match. So I kind of feel like that should have been worked out between, whoever, agents and produces these matches. I think that should have been worked out because it's like, all right, you either got 450 splash is such a big move. Like you either have Quen do it or you have them do it in the main event. Obviously in the main event, since the main event is the main event. So I didn't like that we did get two of those on the same show. That's my little nitpick there. Love the stomp off the top rope from Swerve Strickland. Gets the win. Nice debut match. Good stuff. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson who says, see, I thought they were hinting that you were going to be All Elite soon. Waiting for that graphic from Tony Khan. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in this super chat. Total Nonstop Wilson says it's a Tony Nese podcast party. Hey man, if Tony so the same guy that did my theme song for this show did Tony Nese's theme song for AEW. Yeah, I should have said that earlier. I didn't even think about that right now. John Kiernan, a good friend here. He does a lot of music for a lot of wrestlers. And so I knew him because of that, because he did music for wrestlers. So I was like, hey, dude, can you do my theme song for this show? And he asked me, like, what do you want? And I'm like, hey, I just want to rip off of the Elite song, but with my name. And he knows that I'm a big Swiftie, so he kind of incorporated that into it. So anyways, Tony Nese and I got our song made by the same person. Just here for some fun facts. All right, let's see, guys. That's pretty much it, guys. King of Puerco Mundo says lots of Tonys in AEW. Lots of Tonys, lots of Pages, lots of Cages, Adams. Man, there's just so many here, guys. There's just so many. Alrighty, everybody, that is our show here today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here as always. Please do not forget to give this video a like, share it on your preferred social media. Please help me spread the word about this show. I'm trying to constantly grow these podcasts, and I really want to be a good investment for F4W Online. So please help me spread the word. And also, If you guys haven't checked out my new videos that are also here on F4W Online called The Latest, that's where I basically share all of the latest news and kind of give you guys a quick rundown, breakdown of what's going on in the wrestling world. And I'm actually going to do that right now as soon as I'm done here. So please, guys, check those out. Give those some love. And if not, just go ahead and follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. I am less than 2,000 followers away from 60K. If I can get there by the end of the month, I will be very happy. But other than that, guys, have an awesome weekend. Have a great time, everybody. Bye.